Mr. Chair, you are live.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 18 March 2024 meeting of the Annapolis Transportation Board. We are short of a quorum just now, and so we will proceed as an information exchange meeting, following all items on the agenda except for those that require a vote.
If not today, maybe tomorrow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have a quorum, I think. So I take that back. All right. We are called to order. The roll call is as indicated on the screen with Beth Dolezal, Zoe Johnson, Hugh Hayes, and Tom Schock. I believe that's everybody. And the agenda was distributed. All in favor of going by the distributed agenda? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to cut you off, but is your quorum 4 or 5? I'm looking
I
at
think it's 5.
I'm looking at something that's, I'm sorry, it might be 6 actually. Unless I'm looking at outdated rules of procedure. I don't mean to cut you off or throw.
No, I appreciate that.
I'm looking at City of Annapolis Transportation Board Rules of Procedure approved 2010, section 3.7 quorum.
Yeah.
A recommendation or action of the board shall be adopted only upon a majority of the members present voting a quorum of 6 being necessary.
Okay, let's recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 1 short. Okay. Anyway, welcome to everybody who's here. And maybe we'll get lucky and somebody else will join a little bit later. So we'll proceed with the agenda, not covering any items that require voting. I don't have minutes to vote on anyway. Tara did not send me the latest month. There is no public participation. We are at a point in the agenda where we can hear from the City Council. Its chairman can't be with us tonight, but we have a member, Rhonda Pindell Charles. And if you have anything you'd like to say on behalf of the City Council and the Transportation Committee, I'd love to hear it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just to reiterate in a nutshell, I think we had an excellent Transportation Standing Committee meeting last week. You were there to participate. We heard from both of our providers when it comes to transportation. I think it sounds like to me things are getting better. We had the secret shopper had the secret shopper report anonymously, of course. We also had talked about customer service, which was huge in my mind. And so we also had a few tidbits from Director Marcus Moore. So I thought the meeting went extremely well. To me, in my estimation, things have improved, and we're still moving, I do believe, in the right direction. Alderwoman Carmen O'Neill's our chair. Alderman Savage is a member, and as always, Alderwoman Tierney was in attendance as well. And she always has a lot to provide to us because a lot of what these issues are occur in Ward 1. So that's just kind of a mini update on my assessment personally on the meeting last week.
Thank you. And I'd like to give you my personal thanks for what I regard as an excellent suggestion, that is some member of this advisory board be included in the focus group, which is convened from time to time to discuss garage matters. I haven't heard anything more about that. I wonder how we should proceed on that. I guess talk to Marcus. I think Marcus convenes that group, doesn't he?
I'm not certain, but check with him. If he doesn't, he can certainly tell you who does.
Okay, good. Well, thanks so much, and I'll come back to that a little bit later.
Okay, thank you.
The Transportation Department is represented by Kwaku. You're on.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman. Kwaku with the Transportation Department. Just a quick update on our microtransit pilot project. We are working through the software development phase, and our dispatch staff has been testing it internally, making requests and then getting it on the iPads and then flowing up with that. So hopefully within the next couple of months, we are hoping that like May, we'll be able to officially launch the pilot microtransit project. For our transit development plan update, we are still working with MTA on that. As I said at the last meeting, we will form a kind of a focus group, an advisory committee to basically help with the consultant develop the plan. So once that gets underway, we will inform the transportation board where we are. As I said earlier, at least a member of the transportation board must be on the advisory group together with some of the riders and also some businesses who may have interest in that. We also do have a representative from the ADA community. So that's what I have for today.
Good, thank you. And we would like to participate in that planning activity as it goes forward.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dubois.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good to see you again, Alderman Charles.
Thank you. Good to see you as well.
We just tripped to the number 6, so we have a quorum. But nothing to vote on just yet. The membership situation is still that we have 4 vacancies, Ward 4, Ward 6, Ward 7, and 1 at large. I had one possible indication of interest, and I'll talk to you about that, Beth, because he may have contacted me at your suggestion, but I won't say anything more about that at this point. But I encourage all of you, if you run into people who are both interested and expert in any of the matters that we discuss, please send me their names and I will see to it that the mayor's office considers those people for appointment.
Kurt,
Yes.
one thing I noticed that wasn't mentioned that you, I think, have mentioned before is after a certain period of time, the representative does not have to be from that ward or from that ward.
Yeah, that is correct. We have
Because
passed
if you've
that period
had
of
such a
time.
long time, and
We have passed
That's
that.
right. That's what I
Basically, we
thought.
can
Okay.
appoint people from any ward to fill vacancies at this point.
Okay. And the only reason I said that is because we all know our neighbors a lot better than we know the guy, God knows where. So
Exactly.
I just wanted to clarify
Yeah, that constraint of residency within the ward to be represented is now off because that period of time in the bylaws has been passed. Thanks for
Okay.
mentioning that. The annual report, I already covered that in the last meeting that was filed. So let's get to old business. The live one is the Naval Academy Bridge recommendation that was developed by Hugh and voted on by us at the last meeting. It has been transmitted officially to the city, and the city is in the process of acting on it. Hugh, would you like to discuss that?
Yeah, it sounded like pretty positive. Sounds like they're going to take our resolution and basically just copy it and put it on their resolution and send it off to the state. So hopefully,
Alderman Savage asked Trip Fulton to work on that and transform it into a format which is what the city needs. Do you have everything that you need, Trip?
Yeah, I think we do. I've passed it along to Cynthia Reuter, who helps craft our legislation out of the Office of Law. So she's got it in hand. I told her that Alderman Savage is looking for something similar to the board put together, and I expect she'll have an update sometime soon.
Okay, great. Yeah, your timing was excellent, Hugh. You finished that up, and the board finished it up just in time to arrive at the Transportation Committee, and they will take what we did, send it to the state, and it'll have just a little more oomph with the state and perhaps be more influential. Anything else on that, Hugh?
No, nothing else. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Glad we got to that point.
The next item is the Chesapeake Bay Bridge sidewalk and bike lane, which John Giannotti has promised twice to develop a position for us on, but he has done nothing that I'm aware of, and he continues to miss lots of meetings. Beyond that, the Hillman parking garage was mentioned. At the last meeting of the Transportation Committee, there were presentations by the garage people, an explanation of the focus of a focus group that has operated in the past and is expected to operate in the future to get user input on convenience and other factors connected to operating the Hillman garage. Alderwoman Pindell Charles suggested that a member from this board be included, and Beth Dolezal has volunteered. Beth, if you could follow up with the Transportation Department on that, that would be great.
Okay, I shall do it. Rhonda maybe can tell me who, other than Marcus, who I have been talking to about some of these changes, dealing with residences, not with the garage, but dealing with the residents. I certainly can, but if there's someone else I should talk to, she can tell me that.
Actually, explain something to me.
Rhonda?
Is this focus group confined only to the Hillman garage, or does it consider other parking issues?
I
It's
get the
supposed to
impression, I could be wrong. I get the impression that it's pretty much focused on Hillman, but I also made the suggestion, and Mr. Riggle was there, that they have kind of a revolving focus groups. It might be in place maybe for a month or two, and also that they be themed. You know, it might want to focus on the garage. It might want to focus on something else. So that was my suggestion. I think they took it at heart. So what the latest update on the focus groups is, I cannot say, but you can certainly get additional information from Mr. Escobar is the gentleman, and the other man's name I think is Brian, from that organization. So they would know better, and that information can be obtained from Director Moore as far as their contact information is concerned.
Okay, but supposedly what we were told as residents is that focus group was going to focus on the residential issues. That's why there is one representative from each of the two residential parking districts, one from 1 and 1 from 2, as well as Hillman. And yet I know, you were, obviously at the Transportation Committee meeting, since you're on it, and they certainly only talked about the Hillman garage. They did not talk at all about resident problems and resident issues with this new parking program, even though they mentioned that they were considering it and that they they were going to focus on it and all that, but they never really never mentioned anything about the issues that the residents have, which aren't many, but there are a few critical ones for the residents. And so I don't know what's going to happen, but I would like very much to be the Transportation Board's representative on that focus group.
Well, Ms. Dolezal, you probably can, number one, suggest to the focus group, make a suggestion that they have a focus group focused on the residents, but I strongly suggested that they not only have one, but they be revolving over time and evolving over time. So one could definitely be a residents focused as far as I'm concerned. So they took it to heart.
No, I know you did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't in the room, but I watched you on television, and I know that you did.
Yeah.
You made that suggestion
Right.
that it have more than one focus, and that it have different people for different focuses and stuff
Right.
like that.
Mhm.
Anyway, okay, that's all all I know at this point.
Okay. If
They
you'll
have been
remember
kind of-
from that discussion at the committee, there was just a little bit of pushback in the following sense that they had an interest in running these focus groups from time to time, but definitely did not want to get into the position of operating anything that looked like a permanent advisory committee, or at least
Right.
that's what I heard.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I heard that too. But I also, the other thing that I find interesting is they've kept all the members secret. No one knows who's on the focus group. Now you may, Alderman Woman Charles, but the public doesn't know. We've asked and we get told that it is being kept a secret.
Now I know the
So-
secret shopper is. Now I don't know about the focus group though.
The focus group, we have not been able to find out who's on the focus group at all. So anyway, but I will talk with Marcus. That's beside the point of what
Okay,
we're
great.
talking about here.
Good luck, and
I'll-
keep
I'll
us
talk to
informed
Mark.
about how that conversation
I
goes.
will.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
The next
I
item
will.
on the agenda is I would like to just plant a seed. There's not much that we can do now, I think, but I think it is time to reignite past work on two subjects. One is fare free transit, and the second is Parking District 5. I've made a request of the Transportation Department for some data on actual permits that may be active in Parking District 5, and I will keep you informed of that. For fare free transit, one of our workers, there were basically 3 people on the committee that addressed that before, me and Beth, and then John.
John Purnell, yeah.
Yeah, he's no longer on the committee. So if any members of the committee do have an interest in active involvement on this as we circle around and examine this problem one more time, please let me know. If you know now, let me know now. If you don't know now, let me know later. But we would like to have at least one other worker on this.
So I think it might be helpful to get a commitment from the city council that this is something that they want to at least explore. I mean, my recollection was, Kurt, that you and Beth and John put a tremendous amount of work into a project and teed up, like a slow pitch to the city council, and they didn't even swing at it. So rather than try
Well,
to.
we had a meeting. It was a fantastic meeting. It was really good because all of the actors got together, and we made one mistake though, I think, and that was the presentation was only to the mayor and not to other members of the council. And so they did not hear a great deal of the information which was presented orally on the occasion of that meeting. Of course, we provided a report, and it was full of information, but you know how reports go. Sometimes they get read, sometimes they don't, and they often have less impact than person-to-person oral presentations. So I think if we do this again, that oral presentation the second time around would be an important part of things. As far as interest, yeah, it would be nice to have pull rather than push, but in the absence of pull from the city council, I think we still have an obligation to give our opinion on what the best way forward would be on important policy issues. And this, I think, is one of them. That was sort of where you were coming from, Tom.
Yeah, I would just hate to see a bunch of work again go into the same project if it doesn't have fertile ground in the city council, at least to be considered.
Well, I am optimistic on this point for the following reason. I'm looking at the national situation, and city by city, this is a ball that is not only rolling, but it's rolling faster and gathering momentum. I sent you a note around about the city of Albuquerque, just very recently doing the same thing, and this is happening all over the country. We have. And it's not that they are anomalous compared to us. In fact, some of these cities are remarkably similar to Annapolis in some respects. But I think just as in the case of the bridge, where we are volunteering an opinion which may not presently align with the wishes of the state on a segregated bicycle path, we are still offering our opinion and recommendation to the state that they do something that makes sense. So that's what I would like to recommend to you. Okay, thanks. And that's the end of things that are already on the table on the agenda. Let's go around, and if there are new items that you would like to put on the table for action, let us know. Hugh?
Yeah, so I actually had a question for Alderwoman Pendle Charles. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to answer or not, but last meeting I had asked Karma if she had an update on the resolution we had sent to you guys in December about the crosswalk at Duke of Gloucester and Compromise it. We wanted to put in. It's a little frustrating that I've heard nothing about it for like 4 months now, of just like, hey, this is something the city studied 10 years ago. They decided that they were going to do it 10 years ago, and then they didn't do it. We voted on it as a transportation board. Hey, there's one crosswalk. We think we should put it in. And we haven't heard anything about it. It would be really nice to get something back from the city council going, yes or no, we're not going to do it. And hey, we're going to do it. And it's specifically in the CIP this year. And it's going to happen, this year, or 2025 or 2026. I'd rather hear yes or no definitively and sort of just not hearing anything after working on it. It honestly was one of the reasons I started to join the board, because I've already been emailing the city for 2 years about it. And I was like, hey, maybe if I join the board, then we can get it across the finish line. And it seems to be, again, just being off into some dead zone. So I don't know if you have an answer today, but I'd love to get an update on, is this gonna happen or not gonna happen, and when's it gonna happen? That sort of thing.
I will send her an email this evening. No, I do not have an update on that at all, unfortunately. But I'll send her an email, and I will CC you as well,
I appreciate that.
in anticipation of a quick response.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
This item is not legislative, so strictly speaking, I guess the city council is not involved. I wonder if we should invite the director of public works to come and talk to us.
I'm wondering, because I think we now have and I'm trying to think of the lady who retired a year or so ago, and she has a replacement, I think. Oh, Lisa Greco. And I'm not sure. I think she has a replacement, but that would probably come under her bailiwick, but I can check on that.
Is she in Public Works?
Yeah, she was
Okay.
the person who did the traffic study things, and she retired either last year or the year before. And I think she has a replacement, but don't quote me on that.
Well, maybe we should just invite the director, and he can.
I'll send the email and to Mr. Vogel, who's the
Yeah.
director, and we'll see, come back, and I'll CC Hugh and you as well, Kurt.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Just, it feels like from a transportation board, it feels like a very low bar of hey, can we put a crosswalk in here? On a crosswalk that the city's already studied and said, yeah, we should put a crosswalk here. It's pretty dangerous. So I appreciate you looking into that.
Sure, not a problem.
We 10 years ago, the yacht club wanted that crosswalk. They felt it was really important. And my husband is the one who worked with the yacht club on it. And somebody complained, it went in, someone complained, and it went out. So it's interesting what goes on.
By the way, welcome to David DeQuinzio. He's also joined us. So we have a super quorum. All right, next is Edward Bergman, but he's not here. Zoe Johnson.
I don't have any updates tonight. I'm still waiting to hear from SHA on whether they've brought on their new contractor, Mead, I think, and Hunt, that was going to do the next phase of the design for the Route 450 work. So
Okay.
once I get it and once I hear that and we get an updated project timeline, we can present it to the group. That's
Great.
we're sort of standing by anxiously on that.
Looking forward to that. Tara Ashmore is not here. Taylor Waters.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
All right. And Beth.
No, my focus we've already talked about.
Okay. Tom Schock.
Yeah, nothing for me. Thank you.
John Giannetti is not here. David DeQuinzio.
Good evening. Sorry for joining late, but no, I don't have anything this time.
Okay. Vince Harriman is also not with us tonight. This turned out to be a lightly attended meeting. Before we wrap up, I guess I would like to, this is a question I ask periodically, and any answer is a good answer. It is suggested from time to time by members of the board that we should meet in person rather than by Zoom. And I'd just like to get a feeling for your preferences on whether you would like to continue in this format or if you would find it useful to meet at least part of the time face to face. Anybody have anything you like?
I like this format. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just lazy.
Any other feelings on this?
And I'm the one that lives the closest. I only have to walk a half a block.
Yeah.
I have a strong
say-
preference for Zoom.
I say you have an in-person meeting if you're going to serve refreshments.
Yes. Good.
Kirk,
Mhm.
this is Dave. My vote would be to stay primarily with Zoom, but I do think we ought to meet every once in a while in person. I just think it's good politics. I think it's good business, and I think it's just good, personal behavior.
And it's humanizing.
Yeah, so like 2 to 3 times a year, possibly 4, like once a quarter. Probably not any more than that, but I do think at least some of the time we should meet in person.
Okay, that's a good suggestion.
I agree with that. This is Taylor.
Okay,
I'd like
Taylor.
to see your faces live every, 3 or 4 times a year.
Excellent.
I
I
prefer-
wonder if there is, Trip may have some knowledge about this. Is there a requirement that these meetings occur in city facilities?
Ooh, that's not something I've ever thought about. I would imagine I would assume most, if not every board or commission meets at city council's chambers, but I could certainly take a look.
Yeah, it'd
Did
be
you
nice
have
to know
any-
the answer to that.
Did you have any ideas as to where it might be more convenient if you were to meet in person?
No, either a private residence or that happens to be centrally located, or maybe other places.
I
I
guess
have nothing in particular in
right.
mind.
With that, now that I'm thinking about it out loud, I would say compliance with the Open Meetings Act will almost always be easiest when you're doing these at city hall. So
Yeah, we used to always meet in City Hall.
Okay, that's great. And sometimes it's hard to get rooms, but I will look into that. And
no, I will too.
and it would be nice to have an in-person meeting, at least occasionally, if not the majority of the time. All right, well, that's it.
Oh, one thing, I
Yeah.
saw Julian come on, and I know when you meet in other places other than City Hall, it's problematic for our videography and our video team. So just to kind of put that on the burner.
Yeah, I've been told that this facility, that video and audio is not possible if we meet in person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's only really City Hall is the only place actually available for that.
The actual chambers,
Yes.
right? And are these Monday meetings taken up? Is that facility occupied by some other group on these Mondays?
City Council is every other Monday, but you are actually the opposite Monday from them right now.
That's correct. We did that on purpose. But if there's no competitor for that space, then it would be nice to grab it occasionally.
Are you always on Monday?
Yeah, that does look like a good possibility for you guys.
Okay, good. Well, thanks, everybody. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Enjoy the warming weather.